Well, this is episode 362 of the 3 Point Podcast presented by the Memorial Healthcare Wellness Center. Make sure you join up their Summer Shape Up Challenge running from June 4th to July 30th. Follow the Wellness Center on Facebook for many more details. We're also brought to you in part by AZee Branding Solutions, Jacobs Insurance Agency, Kori Associates Real Estate Services, and Nelson House Funeral Homes. Well, you guys know I'm back from a little vacation to Boston. Kind of nailing some bucket list things. I mean, okay, when I look at Major League Baseball and the old stadiums, obviously I've been to Tiger Stadium and Wrigley Field. Now another bucket list, Fenway Park. I'm going to test you guys. I think I have this fact straight. What's the next oldest stadium currently active in Major League Baseball?
Oh,
is it not Wrigley?
yeah.
Well, Wrigley. Yeah, I said Wrigley. What's after those three?
Well, those three. What do you mean?
It's got to be Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium.
You nailed it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, those three.
Well, yeah, what I meant, Wrigley and Fenway, we know is.
And then the third. Okay, yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, the years, what order do they go? Fenway's the oldest, right?
Yes. Fenway was built the same 1912. I think it was the same year Tiger Stadium was built, and then Wrigley was 14.
The Dodgers like what, 70s? Is that
62,
right?
62.
Oh, okay.
Now the next one shocked me as well. I'll give you one more quiz. What's the next one?
Royals? I feel like is where the Royals play? What
Royals is a solid guess.
That would have been my pick. That would have been my pick without research, and that was 1973.
Okay.
So what? Yeah,
that's not it.
That would be probably my guess. So
that's not it. The stadium has been refurbished some. It's not Yankee Stadium, obviously.
No, that's new. Yeah.
Yeah. But,
is it where? No, Citi Field is new. Where the Mets play. Maybe
West
down
Coast.
south.
West Coast. St. Louis is a good guess, but they put a new bush in there.
Must be where the Giants play.
No.
Padres.
Yeah, I honestly don't know.
Oh, the Angels.
Padres, but maybe it is.
Angel Stadium. I mean, they fixed it up, but that was built in 66.
The most random. I've been to a game there when I was out west, and that was at least my one game. It was a Tigers game. The most random baseball stadium experience I've ever had. It's Anaheim. It's not in LA. It's just out in the middle of nowhere. No, like it would kind of be like probably what people used to talk about Palace of Auburn Hills, how they would complain about that. Like there was just nothing to do around it.
Right.
That's what that stadium was like. It was cool. It's a baseball stadium, but it was like, this is where the Angels play. This is kind of
weird.
This isn't even LA. Like, what's going on here? So
when I would create a team in MLB The Show, like when I was like 10 years old, I always picked that stadium because of the outfield waterfall. It's awesome.
Right.
The rock structure waterfall is one of the nicest touches a baseball stadium has. Outside of maybe the Oracle Park with the Coke can in my field, like that thing is awesome. So.
Yeah. So Fenway, though, so we've got to get your review. So you're the baseball purist, the baseball historian on the podcast. I mean, just a classic baseball history is what that park is, right?
100%. And anybody that's been to Tiger Stadium, it has that same feel. A little bit different because I think there's a little more open space. I took you up on your advice, Matt. I made sure that I got tickets without a pole in front of me.
Yeah.
And it was a good experience. The very first day there, I was all excited. And I told the wife, I said, let's hop on the subway. Let's go to Fenway. Let's get a feel for the whole area. There was a game that night, but we were there earlier in the day. And I wanted to just go get tickets right at the ticket window. I love doing that. Talk to an agent there. Don't have to pay fees, which is number one for me, but also get to talk to an agent and check out what seat you want to get, right? He gave me 2 or 3 different choices, and we settled on first base line between the dugout and right field, really good seats. Looking at the monster, you can see the scoreboard. And so I got the seats, and that day we decided to eat lunch right there in the Fenway area, and we went to this place called the Bleacher Bar. And I think I've talked to you guys about that before, where it's a bar that's actually in the outfield. It used to be part of their bullpen at one time, but they converted it into a bar, which had really outstanding burgers, number one. But number two, they got a big opening with a screen. And if you ever watch a game that's in Fenway, you can see that opening. They close it during the games, but pre-game, they open it up and you can have your lunch and you're looking right at the field, looking at the players warming up and stuff. It was awesome.
Why did they close it during the game? That's kind of lame. I don't understand that.
I think they're trying to make sure people buy tickets to go to the game.
Oh, makes sense. But yeah, I mean, that's a bummer, but it looks awesome. Is it glass or is it like a screen door where like you guys could hear the sights? And
no, they open it up. When they close it, it's like a garage door. It's the size of a garage door, and they roll it up, and then they got screen in front of it, like
awesome.
But when it's open up, it's a great view, and that was fun. That was cool. So when we went back to Fenway, we went on Thursday, and it was our original game, or actually we went on Friday. Our original game got rained out, so they moved it to an afternoon game. So we got to the stadium early. I wanted to do my whole excursion, catch every bit of the atmosphere. And I gotta say this, first of all, I've given the East Coast people a bad rap sometime on being kind of rude.
Yeah.
But that might be just my observation in the past. I'll tell you my experience at Fenway. I give it high marks. I mean, everybody was friendly. We went up to the Green Monster, and we were talking to the ushers there, asking them about do they sell out, and it's like $1,500 a seat, and I'm doing my little sales personality thing, being friendly with the guy. I said, man, I'd love to sit there, but that's out of my price range, $1,500 for a baseball game each. So we took a couple pictures to the side, and we're starting to walk away, and the usher goes, "Hey, you want your picture on the Monster?" I said, "Well, sure." So he waved us right up and in. I think I sent the picture to you guys, but it was awesome, man. It was awesome. Real friendly, and got some good photos there. Got some good photos from our seat. Fireworks in the game. I mean, it was 19-5, the Red Sox. It was a 6-2 game going into the 8th inning. All of a sudden, the Red Sox bats just lit it up. I mean, Devers hit a grand slam. Finally, the game got out of reach. Orioles brought in some rookie infielder that was throwing up 52-mile-an-hour meatballs, and the parade just kept going, man.
Well, it's funny how you talk about the East Coast fans and how they're nice. Here's the reality: is it's a baseball game. Everybody's in a good mood at a baseball game. Let's say you went to a Patriots game. You probably would have wanted to fight like 10 or 15 different people.
Right.
It's just a different baseball game is like it's like a picnic pretty much.
Right.
So
you nailed it. That is
to meet people at. That's for sure.
That's 100% good observation, without a doubt. I was actually thinking that same thing at the game. I mean, you're just there. And I said it to my wife. It says, how can anybody go to a baseball game and not be in a good mood? Right.
Right. Yeah, even on nights that it's a little drizzly, cool, maybe the weather isn't perfect, you're still at a baseball game, and the vibe, like, you talk about the feeling of going to a baseball game, what you're talking about. I honestly don't think there's anything better. I mean, I've been to quite a few stadiums. I don't know if there's any better than Fenway Park. Going to a game, even for you. I saw in the picture, you still got a Tigers hat on, of course. I see you did buy some Boston, some Red Sox swag. You got to do it. But, it's not like they were playing the Tigers. So you're not even, your team isn't even there. You're just there as a fan. They can, you're a paying customer. They can see you're a baseball guy. You just want to experience Fenway Park. So they're going to give you the luxury experience. Yeah, go up on the Monster and take a picture, And, Red Sox fans, as long as you're not heckling them, at least in my experience, and I went to, I think, 4 Tigers games at Fenway. Even then, I wasn't getting, I mean, there was friendly heckling, but I think the NFL just has a completely different vibe, a completely different situation.
It's football, man. It's like war. It just brings out that like caveman brain in everybody. It's You go to a Michigan game, like, remember I had the comment, I was like, man, sometimes I go to a Michigan game and I'm like, end up rooting against Michigan almost because these guys are so damn annoying. Right. It's something about football. It just brings that out of people.
That and the drinking, man.
Yes.
Yeah, you get people that have been tailgating all morning, and then you add in the adrenaline and everything with testosterone and football, and it's just it almost makes it, I don't know, this is going a little tangent. Jared, you were going to say something else. It almost makes, I've seen people say, like, you don't want to take your kids to these games anymore because it's like this, it's not even a fun atmosphere. Unlike you go to a baseball game and you're buying them peanuts, you're buying them Cracker Jacks, you get take them up on the Monster and take a picture. So no, I'm glad you got to experience that, because Yeah, I went to old Yankee Stadium and new Yankee Stadium. The old Yankee Stadium blows the new one out of the park. I know you love Baltimore, Ted, and Camden.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. And but no, Fenway, it's something about just how classic it is. I did one time buy a seat behind one of the obstructed views, one of the poles. We just blindly bought some tickets on StubHub or whatever, not knowing. So I'm glad you avoided the obstructed view.
No, I appreciated that tip for sure. I will say this, and this is, I don't know if it's changed at Comerica. I know we've talked about it before, the decibel level of the speakers and the music blaring out at Comerica. They had it at the right level at Fenway. It had good music, had a lot of organ stuff, but the decibel level was tolerable. It wasn't just blasting you. So I like that.
That's where we've been in left field a couple of times for Tigers game where you're in hell if you're in left field at Comerica. What was maybe your favorite part of Fenway? And then give us one thing that you're like, I kind of appreciate the modern amenities that a Comerica type stadium brings.
I can only, to be honest with you, Jared, I don't have one negative thing about my experience. I really don't. I mean, it was, I was looking at the scoreboard. I'm thinking, oh, this might be hokey, but no, it looked old fashioned. But then all of a sudden, they had the modern amenities up on the scoreboard, and they had some other old fashioned stuff, but they've kind of upgraded things so you could follow along. Everything was so well done. We had good seats to watch. You've seen games in Boston before where they do the Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond. Yeah. Well, they broke that out in the 8th inning. Everybody's singing along, doing their thing. That was fun. Yeah. Probably my favorite part, though, was just checking out that green monster. I mean, forever. That's legendary in baseball. You had to see it up close in person. It doesn't seem quite as big, quite as tall when you're there looking at it. You know what I mean? On TV, it looks huge. Yeah, right?
It's like the way the camera set up, you never even see the top of it unless it's a home run almost. It's just like a green wall, never ending green wall. So where's it rank on your ballpark list?
Yeah. So.
Oh boy, I'll throw out Tiger Stadium for sentimental value. Okay, that's always going to be number one to me, just being a Tiger fan. But I think Fenway number one. I really do. Pittsburgh. Don't get me wrong. As far as a newer stadium, that would be my top choice with the view of the bridges and the city, and even Comerica, the view of the city from around the infield. Is really solid. But as far as my baseball experience, and of course it's coming off a fresh visit, Fenway's number one. I mean, it's the Mecca, the way I look at it.
It's also like we've said it a few times, and it's the area around it with all the different bars and restaurants, and there's like live music, and they almost like shut the street down so people can just be walking around, hanging out. It really is a cool environment. Really, downtown Detroit is similar. It's not the same, but there's a lot of places to go out to eat and grab a drink and stuff around Comerica. It's similar to that, so it is cool. Did you get to go in and see where the manual scoreboard is on the Monster?
We did not. The weather wasn't cooperative. We were going to take the Fenway tour, and because of the weather, we said, hey, we're going to go to the game. We can just scrap the tour. I've been in enough stadiums. I would have loved to have done it, but it just didn't work out.
You could have signed your name, man.
I know. Yeah, I could have signed my name on the right field pesky pole too. I mean, I see people have signed all kinds of spots on that. I will say this for our listeners too, and I know I'm rambling on this portion of the podcast. If you're looking for a city to go visit, and I've been to DC, the historical value there, but Boston is as good as it gets. I mean, it's a great city to just check out history. We did the Freedom Trail. It was like a 2.5 hour guided tour around like where Paul Revere, rode, and we checked out Bunker Hill and the Constitution, the old Ironsides that had a lot of history. Being a kid of the 60s, probably when I was a little kid, the most impactful moment as a youngster was seeing JFK get assassinated, and so we went to the JFK library and museum. It was a really horrendous day weather-wise, and we had to come up with something to do.
Right.
So we went to the library museum, and it was well done. I mean, they did it right. Kind of got goosebumps because we just by chance showed up on a day where 400 people were getting sworn in to be U.S. citizens. And that that was pretty amazing to see, you know, from
That's
all
cool.
different cultures around the world. Sometimes that gets lost in the whole immigrant thing, you know, at the border, but it was really very interesting. This whole country is, you know, was put together that way. So to actually be at JFK's museum and library and seeing the people being sworn in, that was pretty neat.
Yeah. That Freedom Trail you talk about, I did that a couple times actually, and it literally, Jared or anyone listening, there's literally markings on the ground, like, you know, on the sidewalk. There's a trail that you can follow. And then if, you know, obviously there's like an app now, I'm sure there's a physical map you could have got back in the day that will tell you, okay, follow this trail around the city. And it'll tell you like, this is where this happened. This is where Paul Revere's house is. This is where this happened. So like, it literally is a freedom trail of all the stuff that happened around Boston. Because at first, I don't know, maybe people knew that. I don't know, maybe you knew that, Jared. I didn't know that. I was like, Freedom Trail, oh, it's probably just, you know, like some trail. You have to pay someone to guide you around. It's like, no, there's literally bricks in the sidewalk, red brick that you follow through the city. Did you guys, well, you said the weather was a little iffy. Did you see those duck tours, the duck boats?
Yeah.
Those are pretty cool. I had never really heard about duck boats or whatever, cars that, you know, that can go float on the water or whatever. That's a cool thing for Boston. But no, Boston's a cool city. I mean, if you appreciate history, it's definitely a good spot to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the place we stayed in Cambridge, and we weren't far from Harvard. So we did do a little walking tour of Harvard, and, you know, it's not very big. The campus is really pretty small, but, you know, the old historic buildings, of course, Harvard's in the news for other things nowadays that we won't get into, but it was overall, guys, for a five night trip. I mean, it was great. I'd go back to Boston again. There's still a few things we didn't get a chance to see, but if you're into history and the start of this country, highly recommend it. And then if you can mix in Fenway with your visit, it's all good.
I really hope that, you know, because old Yankee Stadium, obviously Tiger Stadium, and, you know, hopefully, I mean, the Cubs, they did really renovate Wrigley Field, some big renovations that, you know, some people weren't happy with. They've obviously done some stuff with Fenway, of course, but hopefully they never do anything. Hopefully they don't do what the Tigers did and knock down Fenway Park and build a new modern stadium, you know, somewhere else in the city. Like, Fenway is what it is. That's where the Red Sox play. It should never change.
100% agree. And I think they've done a good job with whatever money they have to keep it updated, you know, not modernized necessarily, but updated to where it can keep going. I see it lasting at least the rest of my lifetime for sure.
No.
Good trip.
Very cool.
Well, by the way, our other partners include Rivals, Taphouse and Grille, Success Group Mortgage and Servicing, Shiawassee County Fair, and ALS of Michigan. Also, want to send a shout out to our sponsor of the week, AZee Branding Solutions. They partner with you to build your brand in many ways: video and photography, printing, web design, graphic design, social media, and much, much more. Get more info at azbranding.com. We'll be right back with a quick look at the Prep Spotlight right after this. All right, guys, like I've mentioned before, I think we might have maybe one more Prep Spotlight as the track and field finals will be coming up next weekend. We're recording this on Tuesday morning, the 26th, but in baseball, we'll start here for the Jacobs Insurance Agency Prep Spotlight. Owasso ended Corunna's season 11-3 at John Miller Field. Cy Thompson and Carson Moore had 3 hits each. Ryan Meyer went deep in the first inning to put the Trojans up 3-0, and they're having a really good season. We'll see what they can do the rest of the way in the playoffs. And speaking of good seasons, I talked about this last week. The Chesaning Indian sports program this spring is just completely dominant. What a great senior class they have. In baseball, they swept New Lothrop 15-1 and 2-0 to finish the MMAC season. Perfect 16-0. Eli Keck had 6 RBIs and 4 stolen bases in game 1. I mean, going 16-0 in a league, I don't care what league it is. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, you got to have some good pitching and, like you said, some strong senior leadership. That's for sure.
Also, speaking of Chesaning, in track and field, they won the MMAC championship to go with their undefeated regular season in track. Zach Harlan was a 4-time winner, getting the gold in the 100, the 200, and a leg of the 800 and 1600 relays. I can't have a mention of the MMAC track championship if I don't mention Trace Tokar of Ovid-Elsie. He won the pole vault, obviously, went 12-6, probably saving up a little bit for the finals coming up, going for that 4-peat, man.
Yeah.
What a great career he's had.
Where's the golf updates this week, man? You're lacking on the golf.
No, well, we're talking about Chesaning. Chesaning, like I said, spring dominance. They won the MMAC golf tournament.
Are these guys all playing 4 sports? I mean, what is, or
I don't know. It's pretty amazing, man. Today's our shout out to Chesaning. Right. Quentin Everett led the way with a 79. How about that?
It's a good score.
Yeah.
I just wanted to look up real quick. So you said Trace Tokar, he vaulted 12-6?
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you guys think? I was just, because one of my best friends pole vaulted in high school, and he was kind of similar. He didn't win 4 straight state championships, but he did go on to Eastern Michigan and ran track, pole vaulted at Eastern Michigan.
Oh,
so
yeah.
he was very, very good.
Yeah.
But I was trying to remember I remember him talking to me about pole vault, what the state record is. What do you think the Michigan high school state record is for pole vault? Because I was trying to think, like,
you have it?
Yeah, I just looked it up. I was thinking, man, 4 straight.
16 feet.
I'm going to say 15-6.
19 feet, 10 inches.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. It's terrible.
That's insane.
It doesn't make sense. Every time you see those massive jumps, like I don't even want to know what the Olympics is. It just looks dangerous. I don't know how you got to have some balls to do that. It's pretty crazy.
And to do it right, when you see those guys in slow motion, especially at the Olympic level, and they crank that pole and it just bends back and then just catapults them over. It's unreal.
Yeah, that's insane. That might be fake news. This might be AI.
I don't know.
This might be fake news. 19 feet's insane, right?
It does seem insane for high school.
I might dig a little more and keep going with your prep spotlight.
Was that in Michigan or is that nationally high school?
Yeah, it says the Michigan high school state pole vault record is.
All right. Well, while you double check that, I got one more story in soccer, girls soccer. Ovid-Elsie beat Corunna 6-0 in a D3 district opener on the Marauders pitch. Madeline Bouchard nailed 3 straight goals late in the first half to allow OE to cruise in that one. And Owasso beat Lansing Everett 8-0 behind 2 goals by Olivia Binger. I give you enough time to look it up?
It didn't.
Oh, well, we're going to go with it. If it's AI, it's AI, but either way,
19 feet just sounds insane, right?
It does seem a little high.
You guys are saying do Olympic pole vaulters even pole vault 19 feet? I don't even know.
Yeah, I think they do, but
see, this is more okay. I think this is more correct. This is saying 13-4. This is on the MHSAA website.
13-4?
2016, 13-4. Landon Kemp from Greenville.
Okay.
Is what this
I'm
is
guessing
saying.
What 19 is probabay world record. I'm guessing
that might be the world record,
right?
Well, no kid in high school is because I was going to say
AI.
Again, I think my buddy, because that's what I was trying to think. My buddy that I mentioned, I feel like he always mentioned, I feel like him always saying he was in the like mid 12 feet, like Trace Tokar, 12-6.
Right.
Maybe 12-4, 12-8, something like that. And so I was going to say, I wonder if Trace is on his way to breaking a state record or something like that. I mean, 4 straight state championships is insane. So
what'd you say it was?
13-4 is what the MHSAA website lists. So
all right,
that's still 12-6 to 13-4. That's a pretty big jump. It
is,
but not saying he can't do it. So
that adrenaline will be going, baby.
We'll be pulling for him.
All right, we're winding down. That is the Prep Spotlight presented by the Jacobs Insurance Agency, local, independent, and trusted. All right, let's take another quick little short break and come back and take a look at what's going on in the sports world. All right, guys, before we get to the Tigers, let's just jump right into the NBA Finals. I mean, other than one real blowout game, I mean, it's some pretty good basketball we're watching here in the Final Four.
Yeah, the Eastern Conference has been really good. The Pacers and the Knicks. I mean, they're 2 teams that are basically built the same way. Maybe you have like one superstar, Halliburton and Brunson. Towns and some other guys are the cusp, I guess, on the edge of being superstars, really good players, but then just a bunch of really good, solid role players. It reminds you of 90s basketball. That's what, going into the series, people were like, this is going to be a 90s basketball type of series. And it's been good. I guess the Pacers are one of the role players. Naismith is, I guess, dealing with like an ankle injury that could be big going in tonight. We're recording Tuesday morning. They play tonight, so that could be big for the Pacers. But that's been a good series. And over on the West, I mean, the Thunder are really good. They basically were the best team all season, and they've kind of proven that because they're up 3-1 now on the Timberwolves. And I mean, the Timberwolves might win another game. That series is all but over. So, SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander won the MVP, and he's showing why he's the MVP. That's just a really good team.
Yeah, it's that series. I don't know what the Western series is like. It's boring me. I mean, it's 3-1. And I actually did fall asleep again last night watching that game. Something about it. There's just nothing that's grabbing me about it. Anthony Edwards is electric, yes, but the Thunder are very good, and their defense is incredible, and I love how they play. It's just they're just boring. Now the Eastern Finals is like I can't get my eyes off the screen watching that series. That is NBA basketball at its best. Those two franchises, the history with Reggie Miller and all that. Game number 1, I mean, that was the wildest game I've maybe ever seen in my life. And people are like claiming the Knicks choked. Like the Knicks didn't choke. That was just the Pacers went nuclear. And Naismith made 4 straight threes. There was nothing you could do. So I think we're going to be in for an all-time treat tonight in Game 4. It's just I don't know who to root for in that series. I love both the franchises. The Pacers are actually big-time rivals with the Pistons. I love the Knicks. I love Brunson. But how can you not respect what the Pacers are doing right now? Small market like that, just a great team, similar to the Thunder, where they're very deep. Everybody knows their role. Halliburton's been on 2 or 3 different teams now at this point in his career. It's like he's figuring it out. It's just how they play, the pace, the tempo. I mean, even Rick Carlisle was like thrown to the trash. And he's back showing that he's still a pretty damn good coach. So everything about the Eastern Finals, I can't get enough of. To me, it's going to be the best series of this playoffs, no matter what the finals ends up being. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I am definitely pulling for the Pacers. I kind of like the Knicks team. I mean, Cat, that dude, man, when he just has his feet planted on the floor and fires up those 3-pointers and they just nothing but net, it's just amazing to watch. He's a lot better than I thought he was.
Oh, yeah.
To tell you the truth.
He's had good playoffs.
Yeah, he's had a really good playoffs, and that's a fair, criticism. Not that you were criticizing, but because he has, when he was with the Timberwolves, he always came up short in the playoffs. That was his thing. Like, you're really good. You're an all-star. You're one of the best guys in the league. But whenever the Timberwolves would get to the playoffs, Karl Anthony Towns would kind of shrink, and he would, not play well. So that was the criticism of him up until the season when Brunson, of course, but Towns, destroyed the Pistons. I mean, he was hitting those 40-foot threes left and right, and he was hitting those fall away baseline jumpers and stuff. So no, that's fair. And I think we're seeing maybe whoever wins the East could challenge the Thunder, but the way the Thunder are playing right now, it almost feels like that they're going to wrap the series up.
100%.
The Timberwolves are going to come back, but it feels like the Thunder are going to beat whoever wins in the East. Maybe not. You never know.
No, yeah, but I'm with you. It seems like it's theirs to lose. I'd be shocked if they don't end up winning it all, honestly, no matter whether it's Pacers or Knicks. Do you guys agree, though? There's something kind of boring about them, about the Western. Really, it feels like the Western playoffs this whole time. I mean, the Nuggets, I'm still so impressed with the Nuggets. They had 4 guys, Aaron Gordon on a broken leg. They took this team to 7 games. It shows you how good Jokic really is. But the Thunder, they're cool. They play hard. They almost play like a college defense. It almost seems like with Caruso and J-Dub and all these guys that are just superior athletes, and they play hard. To me, I couldn't care less. I don't know why. It doesn't have the star power for whatever reason.
I hear what you're saying there, but the one thing is, I mean, they do have the MVP in the league, SGA. But the guy I can't take my eyes off watching play is Chet Holmgren.
He is pretty electric. Yeah.
My wife the other night, I was watching, and she, usually she'll watch a little bit if it's not the Pistons or the Lakers or something.
Right.
But she's not watching the game. She's on her phone or, whatever,
Right.
but she'll peek up sometimes. And at one point she peeked up and she was like, is that a giraffe out on the court? And I was like, yeah, he's like 7'2", and I don't know what he weighs, but then she watched and on cue, he had like a crazy spin move dunk. And I was like, yeah, but this dude's incredible. Like
he's
as long as he can,
threes.
Right. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be a great player.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's fun to watch. I think it's you guys, one of you mentioned the star power, Jared, you said the East, Pacers, Knicks, like those are storied franchises in the NBA. Timberwolves and Thunder, I don't think anyone really overall cares about those franchises. And yes, now you got the MVP. Ant Edwards is going to be probably the face of the league here if he's not already basically there. So soon they will be. But yeah, you don't have LeBron, you don't have Steph Curry. You don't have some of these other franchises that have been the staples of the West, Jokic, like you said, with the Nuggets. So I think that's probably part of it. And then it's just kind of been blowout after blowout, so that doesn't help. But yeah.
Let me ask you guys this question. It popped into my mind watching the Knicks Pacers play, especially when the Pacers came back and won that wild game. How satisfying is it to you? It is to me a little bit when I see all these celebrities get the dagger in them, courtside.
It's pretty funny. I agree. What's funny? All those celebs being there at these games, it does take it up a notch. Like
it does.
It is funny to watch. Like I swear, Timothy Chalamet has been going more viral than actual 360 dunk highlights this playoffs.
Right.
To the point where everybody's turning on him. Like, dude, can we stop showing this guy so much? That's anybody. That's any celebrity once they get any sort of fame. But yeah, I'm with you. It is kind of something magical. But I also get a kick when they have a big win and they all go nuts. It's like I see both sides of it. Like Ben Stiller going nuts, or Cat, and those guys are going right up to Chalamet after the game and dapping him up, and they're going nuts in each other's face. I think it's a win-win to me. It's hilarious when they lose, but it's also pretty cool to see them when they win. And you talk about MSG in the finals. I mean, wouldn't we love to see that? Could be maybe somewhat of a great equalizer in a Thunder series potentially. So. It's very cool. I'm with you. That's one of the big highlights. I love how they show the celebs every game. That's important. It's important to do.
It is. Yeah, that's the home court advantage. That's why, people talk about it's called crypto. I was about to say Staples Center, but crypto.com where the Lakers play, it's always celebrities all over the place in LA for Lakers games. Detroit, sometimes Detroit will get a bunch of local Detroit people to show up, and maybe not like New York or LA, but
it's usually former athletes. That's kind of the thing. Who are big, Eminem. I don't think we ever saw him courtside honestly, the Lions games seem to be where a lot more of the Detroit celebs kind of pop out at sit in the suites. So. But yeah, I remember for the first playoff series round against the Knicks, it was Big Ben's there, Chauncey's there, Rip's there. Those guys are awesome in their own right. So
yeah, well, that's what you want to see at Pistons games. The former players, the bad boys, Isaiah Thomas, and some of the other guys. You mentioned MSG, and I saw someone saying that obviously it's the aura of MSG, but people said that that's what was going to be the equalizer in this series. But the Pacers won both games at MSG so far. So the home court advantage thing maybe hasn't helped the Knicks so much. I did see on that Halliburton crazy buzzer beater that bounced and then dropped through, when they were going crazy. Larry David was sitting right there. So someone did a funny edit for Curb Your Enthusiasm. This should have been an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, with the Halliburton buzzer beater. But I was going to ask you guys, I was watching Get Up real quick before we started recording this morning, and they posed the question, Greeny did, is the era of the quote unquote super team over? The Celtics building the team that they did, the Heat obviously are the famous one. But he was making the point about the Thunder and the Morris twins, Markieff and Marcus Morris. They were up there on the set with him, and he was asking them, think about the Thunder, homegrown, and really the Warriors were home. They drafted Draymond, Steph, and Klay Thompson. The Thunder have drafted these guys, Chet, SGA, Jalen Williams. They built a team through the draft, and really it made me think about the Pistons. That's kind of what the Pistons have done. And I wonder if that, the Suns tried to build that super team with what they did. The Nets have tried it multiple times. The Clippers have tried it multiple times. The Lakers do, but that's just the Lakers have just that's always been what they do. They pay and sign a bunch of dudes. That's what they do. But I don't know, maybe what the Pistons are doing, seeing what the Thunder are doing, And really, some other teams around the league, the Celtics were that way. Maybe what the Pistons are building, maybe we're on our way, like we said, Cade is that superstar. It's almost like they just need that one more piece, because you saw it in the Knicks series. They were right there every game.
100%.
They just couldn't get over that hump, so maybe seeing what the Thunder are doing, that's showing us like the Pistons are right there.
Yeah, I think the league is shifting. Like you said, it was like we were in the big three era for what felt like 10 years.
Yeah.
And now we're out of it. It's just, how can you put together 8-9 guys like the Thunder and just, that's what I was bitching about that maybe a week or two ago, where it feels like almost like the playoffs are more of like a stamina contest than actual, like, who's the best team. But then again, I get mad at a team like the Nuggets. I love Jokic and I love the Nuggets, and they win the title. And then they had a team like what the Thunder have, like 8 guys deep. They let, Bruce Brown walk. They let KCP walk. And now they're a 4-man team. And what made them so good, they aren't even that anymore. So to me, I'm with you. I love a good team. That's what's cool. That was what was cool about the Celtics last year. You 8-9 guys deep. That seems to be the new key to success. So I'm here for it. I mean, who didn't love watching LeBron and Dwayne and Chris Bosh? But we'll probably never see that again. Or we will, but it seems like we're really heading toward this new era of just, let's build a 10-man team and let's go from there.
Yeah, it's kind of like the going to work Pistons back in the early 2000s. I mean, they didn't really have any major superstar on that team, just good, solid players, and they played well together.
Yep.
And you were talking about the Pistons. I got to send a shout out to Bickerstaff. He's pretty good in the studio. He does a good job breaking down stuff.
He was,
I'm surprised he does that. To be honest.
I was too. I wonder if he's trying to, maybe build the Pistons brand a little bit. Sure. Maybe he's thinking of life after coaching, getting that media resume going. But yeah, no, he was really good. He was really good on ESPN.
Yeah. And speaking of broadcasters and the juice, with the celebrities at MCG, I talked about it a little bit last week, but the more I'm watching these playoffs, and I don't want this to be a major diss to the number one NBA broadcast team of Breen, Burke, and Jefferson, but how can you not really enjoy the game a little better with the number 2 team, with Harlan and Van Gundy and Reggie Miller?
It lines up with that Knicks Pacers series, man, where that's Reggie Miller is probably the number one guy you want to hear talk about that series.
100%.
And I'm with you. Harlan is the most underrated announcer there is, man. He's the freaking man. I love listening to him. Yeah. Breen's great too. They're like, both are very good. He is. It's just there's something. I'm with you. And I love the Stan Van aspect as well. He kind of doesn't really care. He's going to let it rip with what his opinions are. So, no, I'm with you. They're a very good team.
Yeah, my personal opinion is I think Jefferson's the weak link. That's just my opinion.
Yeah,
I like Richard Jefferson.
Yeah, Jefferson's good because he, former player, so you get that perspective, and kind of like what you said, Jared, about Stan Van. Like his brother, when Jeff Van Gundy was on the call, they do not care one bit. They're going to voice their opinions and say what they think, which is cool. And Richard Jefferson kind of does that. But I think he because I've worked on a number of his games, and so I've been on the calls behind the scenes. He still talks about how he's so connected to the league that he kind of has to watch a little bit what he says. He's still friends with LeBron if he's doing a Lakers game, or he's still friends with a lot of the guys in the league. Right. So yes, he can let it rip and give you that perspective of former player who was just playing, a few years ago, but it's also like still kind of connected to the league. So I can't really say what I want to say,
maybe a little unfair on my end there too. But then again, you look at JJ Redick, he had no problem with it.
Oh, he didn't care one bit. But he also he had no interest in being in the media. I think that might have been part of it. He was out. He wasn't a player, and he hadn't become a coach yet. So the natural thing was go do broadcasting. Yeah. And he would I did a couple games with him and he voiced very openly that he did not like being in the media one bit. He hated the way that the media covered the game. He didn't like the way they talked about the players, and that was just a stop type of job before I become Lakers head coach now. But no, Harlan's the man. And Stan Van, when he's on during March Madness, when he's on the games, he's usually with Noah Eagle. He's on the team with him. Stan Van's great.
Yes, he is.
He's so good.
Well, we got 6 good ones anyway, but my just personal opinion, I like the number 2 team better.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. Little baseball talk. Little Tigers, still the best record in baseball, 35-20 after Monday's 3-1 win over the Giants. Seeing Javi get tossed out of the game, I don't know what your guys' thought is on that, but you know what it showed me? He laid off that slider on the outside corner, and it was definitely outside the zone. The one thing I took away from that, he absolutely consciously has concentrated on that, and that's part of his success at the plate this year.
That's what he said to the umpire. He said, I'm waiting for that pitch. I know it's not a strike. I saw it the whole way.
Right.
Like I said with Baez before, man, everything he does it with flair. If he's going to get ejected, man, you might as well get your money's worth. And that was awesome. That's like, who doesn't love a good ejection? I just saw the Oakland A's manager gets ejected, and they're at like that rinky-dink stadium. So he had to walk like the entire third base line to like go back to the clubhouse, and that was hilarious. Who doesn't love an ejection, man? And especially when you still get the win. And AJ was upset. Basically said, "Hey, let me get a chance to talk with you before you decide to eject one of my players."
Right.
But no, I love Baez. He cares, man, and he was right. It was a bad call. And basically, what he said in the post game was, "Hey, I can live with a bad call, but when you double down and don't admit that you made a mistake, that's like what really set me off." And then I think the umpire said maybe one more thing to Baez. He turned around, wouldn't let it end. And he said, "All right, you're out." So just a dynamic, electric moment, and I'm glad it didn't end up hurting the Tigers. They still got the win. So
it's always one of the funniest things. Like, yes, watching the video, and it's always funny. You hear the crowd at the stadium start to get fired up too when you can see things heating up with the umpire. But tossing the like, it is kind of a funny thing to me. I don't know. Like, it's the only sport where you see the arguing happening, and then like the ump can get out of here. You're out of here, and I'm just like, what was said that set you off, right? Like, did Baez tell you like you're trash at your job, or you don't know what you're doing, so then you get offended? Because everyone could see the replay. It was a terrible call. It definitely was not a strike. It was a whole foot outside of the zone
and low.
So it's one, like, did you just take it personal, whatever Baez said? And then like you said, Jared, AJ wanted to come out and just make a point, and you already tossed the player, so now Hinch is out there trying to make a point. It's part of baseball, but it's just the whole process is a little goofy to me, that the umpire has the ability to throw a player out, and the player didn't even like do something wrong. Like in basketball, if you have 2 flagrant fouls, you can get ejected. If you have 2 technical fouls, you can get ejected. That's a little different. But for the umpire to be able to just be like, you're out of here because you made the terrible call and I'm calling you out for it, it's just kind of goofy, but it's fun to watch the video. It's fun.
It is kind of strange. I mean, and players are allowed to voice their complaint right away, and then they're usually told, "Hey, get out of here. I got the call," and they'll usually turn around and walk away and still say some things under their breath. Baez went back twice and then a third time. That's what got him tossed.
It's when you keep going back that gets it right.
He's awesome, man. I don't care. It was awesome. There's another cool story of the Tigers this week. I'm sure you guys probably saw this. So Jed UK. So basically he's a fan from the United Kingdom. And basically, so he was a kid. I think he's like 33 years old. So in 2006, he probably was like a teenager. He just turns on the TV. Back in those days, basically the game of the week was the only thing that aired in the UK for baseball. So he happened to be watching the World Series at like 3 or 4 a.m. And he saw the Tigers, fell in love with them. Like, and who hasn't, had this thought when you're watching a game with no allegiances? You're always rooting for the team that's losing to make a comeback, to have some magical game. So he ends up becoming a Tigers fan. He's been an avid follower and tweeter really ever since, watching every game every year. Usually the games are on at like 4 or 5 a.m. His time, which is nuts. So after being this great Twitter follow for all these years, his wife finally convinces him to start a GoFundMe to trying to get him to a Tigers game. Because I mean, you think about that's a big time trip. I mean, probably $5,000 is how much you're looking at spending with the plane ticket and all that stuff. So he does the GoFundMe, gets $8,000 in donations like almost immediately. Goes to the game. Literally, this is what's nuts to me. This is the first baseball game he's ever seen in person. Little league, high school, they don't play it over there. So going to Comerica Park, you talk about how when you go to Tiger Stadium, you walk out of the tunnel and you see the green of the grass. Like, I like to imagine a magical moment for him where he gets to Comerica and finally sees the baseball field. It's like he said it was like TV come to life. So awesome weekend for him. He goes to all these games. He's on TV with Johnny Kane doing an interview. The Tigers gave him a signed jersey with all the players on it, custom Jed UK on the back of it. And he posted something on Twitter where he went to a casino after this GoFundMe, which, by the way, if you're in Detroit for 4 or 5 days, what else do you do?
Right.
What else do you do? You got to go to the casino. And people start freaking out on this guy about, we did this GoFundMe. Now you're at the casino. Clearly you didn't need it. It's like, dude, he's giving away tickets all weekend with some of this money. He's going to the casino, for God's sakes, to play a few hands of blackjack. Like, who gives a shit? This was just a perfect example of the second somebody gets some love, like everybody loves him on Twitter, then he comes stateside, gets some love. Now it's okay, let's try to tear this guy down.
Right.
It's so goddamn annoying. I just thought it was cool. Some guys have that face where you look at it and you're like, this is a kind person. To me, I saw the interview, I saw the pictures, and I'm like, this just seems like a good dude. So I just thought that was a very cool. Baseball is just magical, man, where the random guy 15, 20 years ago is watching the Tigers in the World Series. Now 20 years later, he's got all these Twitter followers. He's a diehard. He got a Victor Reyes tattoo, and like people are coming up to him and like taking pictures with him at a Tigers game. I just thought that was pretty cool.
No, I think we follow him. We've probably retweeted a couple things because he's definitely a good follow on social media because he's always plugged into the Tigers stuff. So I didn't see the interview he did on TV. That's really cool that you guys linked up with him. Because that was a big story. It was, on social media, it was a big story that he made it over for his first Tigers game and he was there all weekend. And then, yes, of course, I saw all the other hate that he was getting for what he was doing. And it's one of those things like, if someone says that they're raising money, we've seen, we don't have to get into all this, but we've seen people start GoFundMes for illegitimate reasons, over the last handful of years or whatever. And that's completely different. He started the GoFundMe for this trip and, made it happen. And then he was also, like you said, he was buying a bunch of tickets because he got some extra money, buying tickets, giving them to fans, doing some other little giveaways or, something like that. So yeah, if you're going to go to the casino and play a couple hands of blackjack, that's fine. My thing is like, if you're going to donate the money to this cause, who are you to tell him what to do with the money?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's one thing if he said, I'm going to use this money, fly over to Detroit, go to Tigers games, and then he never did it and just did okay, that's different. That'd be like, all right, dude, you swindled us a little bit. No, he still did the trip and went to the whole series of games, was giving away tickets. And if he had a couple $100 extra bucks, I would be like, no, go to the casino. Go to do that, go experience Detroit. Go
have a nice steak dinner.
Right. Go out to eat, do what you got to do. If you donated the money, now you're making it a bad thing if you're getting mad at him for going to play a couple hands of blackjack. But overall, I'm going to have to look that up and see the interview you guys did with him, with Johnny Kane. Well, I guess, was it on FanDuel?
Yeah, Johnny did it. Yeah, Johnny Kane did it. Yeah, during the game. I don't remember. It was Friday night's game, I believe, is when he did it. So, what real quick to pivot, what do you guys think of the Guardians? Do you worry about them? I'm not gonna lie, maybe I was kind of similar with the New York Knicks. I love them. I love the Guardians. I love how they play. Stephen Kwan is maybe my favorite player in the MLB. All-time leadoff hitter. Just puts the ball in play, high batting average, cool name, cool swing, fast, outfielder, like everything about him I can dig. Jose Ramirez is also awesome. I swear he's like 5'5", like 250 pounds, but just an all-time baseball player. They're a little worrisome, though. It seems like they kind of have our number. Now, I think we all feel a little bit better with the outing Skubal had against them, where you're like, wow, he can end a slump every time he steps to the mound. But that BABIP, which I'm not a baseball BABIP, basically putting balls in play. Their strategy, the Guardians, seems to be almost like a kryptonite to how the Tigers want to play. What do you guys think of the Guardians? Are you worried about a potential playoff matchup with them, no matter how many games the Tigers win in the regular season?
I wouldn't use the term worried, but I would say they're definitely somebody that the Tigers have got to deal with. And, it's going to be a battle without a doubt. When I look at the Tigers right now, and knock on wood, if they stay healthy and get guys back like Mize, he's 6-1. They need to get him back because he was great ERA. Get their guys back healthy. I'm not worried about the Guardians. That we can certainly play with them, and I think we're better than them personally.
Yeah, I mean, the losing 3 of 4 isn't a good look.
No.
But yeah, you got Scooble to save the day. I think, yeah, a big thing. We've said it now for a few weeks, or at least I have. Hopefully, Flaherty kind of gets things turned around. And then Mize comes back. I think that's the big things. Starting pitching was getting a little lit up because the Guardians are good. I think it's just got to stay the course. It's May. Don't have a lose 8 out of 10 streak or something like that, and you'll be fine. And then if we're talking playoffs, I'll give us a chance in the playoffs with a guy like Scooble. And then again, hopefully Flaherty gets things turned around, but got to stay healthy. That's the biggest thing.
Stay healthy. And like you said, avoid any extended slumps for sure. I mean, they're 15 above 500. What the hell?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that Scooble, I mean, we don't even need to talk about what more can you say. He's the best pitcher in baseball. We'll deal with the contract stuff this offseason. That's going to be the story of the offseason, so we'll see where that goes. I have one more topic throughout in sports before we get to maybe Tedertainment.
Yeah.
Flag football. I don't know if you guys saw this.
Right. So I'm glad you're bringing that up.
For the Olympics in 2028, which is going to be awesome. Basically what it is, 10 players per team.
Oh, so we know Ted's feelings about that.
Flag football.
So 10 players per team, 5 on the field at the same time. The thing that's funny to me about it, though, is this current quarterback for the flag football team, which I didn't even know there was flag football in the Olympics. There's so many of these goddamn sports that are like pretty much made up that people can just claim they're Olympian because they in fact, they even know it's a thing. I didn't even know flag football was an Olympic sport until a few weeks ago. So this QB for the current flag football team, 5'7", 140 pounds.
Right.
QB Daryl Hausch-Duché has been I'm reading from an article. He's been a flag football star for several years now. Last summer, he went viral for saying he was, quote unquote, better in his sport than Patrick Mahomes would be. Quote unquote, at the end of the day, I feel like I'm better than Patrick Mahomes because of my IQ in the game. I know right now he's the best in the league. I know he's more accurate. I know he has all the intangibles. But when it comes to flag football, I feel like I am better than him. So then he went a step further. Once the NFL players got cleared to play this week, he says, this is a sport we've played for a long time, and we feel like we are the best at it. We don't need other guys, he argued. But we all have one goal in mind, and that's to represent our country. We're definitely open to all competition. This is hilarious. Dude, you have no chance. These guys would literally obliterate you. These are the type of guys who almost need to be knocked down a peg. You're playing a sport, which we're the only country that plays, already a watered-down version of the actual sport, flag football. And you're talking about how you're better than NFL players, Patrick Mahomes. Let's just throw Lamar Jackson in there. Like, dude, you're terrible. Your time is done. Right. You're not playing in 2028 Olympics, and it's time for you to be done. Like, this is the type of stuff I was talking about with Olympic sports. It's a joke. Like, if you ever saw the movie Foxcatcher with Steve Carell as John DuPont, who ends up murdering, the famous wrestler. I wish I remembered his name. I should remember. It's Mark Ruffalo in the movie. He's an Olympian because he competes in like swimming, revolver shooting. Like, what are some of these sports? To me, the NFL deciding we're going to let these NFL players play in the Olympics. Now flag football is cool. Now flag football is interesting. And I personally can't wait to see what the team looks like. Right. I will say I looked up what a potential roster would be from CBS Sports, Kobe Benjamin. This makes no sense. It's like, do people not realize it's not tackle football? His roster has Micah Parsons, Nolan Smith Jr. Like, what are we talking about? You need speed out there. You need you need a quarterback, which I think should be Lamar Jackson. How are you going to pull that guy's flag? And you need speed, and you need cornerbacks, and you need wide receivers. Like, what are we talking about where you have edge rushers? What are they going to do? Tackle the quarterback? You're pulling a flag. I just thought that was funny. Ted, you apparently don't like flag football from your initial reaction. What's the problem with it?
Well, I'll give you my take on it. I'm not against flag football. Youth flag football, great. Women flag football, fantastic. Televised flag football, take it and shove it up your ass. That's how I feel about it.
It's for an Olympic gold, though. And now we're getting the best athletes.
Will I give it a quick watch? Yes. Are you kidding me? You're going to get excited about watching a flag football game on TV, even if it's the Olympics?
They're going to win by a zillion points.
Well, they might.
Jameer Gibbs, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I see the name Travis Hunter getting thrown around. It's going to be electric to watch.
Yeah, sure.
It'll be electric to watch if the NFL players are playing. You might turn it on to see Lamar Jackson, but I'd be curious how many players in the NFL are from other countries,
Right.
you know, so if there's any NFL players from Canada,
Australia,
from, you know,
probably.
wherever that can, you know, go compete. I'm going to guess
Not
not very
really, but
many.
yes.
Probably not very many
Could
competing.
an Amon-Ra, like, would Amon, like, I don't know how it works. I don't think he could, because I think he's been,
Yeah,
he's been a U.S. citizen his whole life. But yeah, like, you think about maybe somebody with I think Kyle Hamilton has some connections to like Korea or something like that. But I doubt he's going to go, hey, let me go 1v12 of all NFL players, and I'm the one NFL player on Korea's team. It's like, it doesn't make sense. But
there might be a few players with dual citizenship, like you said, like Amon-Ra, who can maybe go compete. Germany, right? He's has German.
Well, like Joel Embiid
so.
somehow played for the USA team, made literally 0 sense.
Right.
So they'll find some ways to finagle it, I'm sure.
Well, backtracking for one quick second, other than the factor of seeing NFL players in the Olympics, are you really a flag football fan? I mean, the Pro Bowl, did you watch the Pro Bowl?
Because they don't care. This is the Olympics where there's something to win.
Okay.
It's going to be actual, like, they're going to try to win, and probably try to win by a lot.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool. No, the Pro Bowl isn't fun. Pro Bowl is not cool because they're just trying not to get hurt. It is lame. I'm not agree with you on that. So no, but this is actual competition, sanction a winner, a loser, and something to play for, a gold medal.
Right.
Helps
no, I mean it would be interesting. The one thing you mentioned Jahmyr Gibbs. So I love, you guys know, I love Olympic basketball. The Dream Team, Redeem Team, all of them. That's one of my favorite things to watch. I will watch every second of everything that has to do with Olympic basketball. So there still is the threat of the players out there, you know, getting hurt. Like, that's a big thing. Or, you know, if Cade Cunningham is on the Dream Team, goes out there and gets some major injury playing for gold, that now affects the Pistons season going forward. You know, how does that make you feel? You mentioned Jahmyr Gibbs. If he's out there, so I was going to say, but competing for the gold medal in basketball, that's a big deal. Like that is a big deal. That's a very big global event. You're out there versus Giannis. You're out there versus Jokic. You know, that's a big deal. If Jahmyr Gibbs is out there playing flag football in the Olympics and blows his knee out, I think we're all going to be pretty upset that he blew his knee out playing flag football, and now, you know, his Lions career is ruined. You know, that would be one thing. The other part of it, so two other things. The dude you mentioned, you know, he obviously went viral. I think his comment, because I remember when that went viral last year, what he said about Patrick Mahomes, people took it as he said, I'm better than Patrick Mahomes. And it was like, what are you doing? I think he was trying to say, like, me in flag football.
But he's not.
Is better.
That is what he's saying, but he's not. It's like, I don't care if he doesn't know the rules. You're 5'7", 140. You look horrendous. I've seen him throw. You're not, like, I get what he's trying to say, but no shot.
Because the video, there's you don't want to knock him because he's really good at, you know, what he does. I'm not trying to be
those guys. Honestly, I say flag football's a joke. Right. That's why you should almost mock him in a way. It's because you look at that, you're like, what is this stupid ass sport? Let's get some actual athletes in there.
It's also funny because, like, the video of him throwing, it really looks like, how are you even that good at this? You know, because honestly, I think I have a better throwing motion than him. And Jared, you probably could go out there and throw better, at least going off the video. So that's like one thing that makes it also a little goofy, is like, dude, you don't even look like you're really that good at this sport. The other thing is him saying that, you know, we've dedicated our lives to this, you know, we're so good, we would be the Olympians, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. The comparison that I make is, pro athletes are just so much on a different level than anybody else. The three of us played sports through high school, and that's where our, you know, except for intramurals and stuff, that's where our athletic careers ended for a reason. You know, pro athletes are on a completely different level. And the thing that I always think about, I've probably told this story on the podcast before, but ESPN up in Bristol has, you know, a company softball league, slow pitch softball. You know, all ESPN employees, different teams. There used to be like 8-10 teams. It was really cool, super competitive league, really, really good slow pitch softball league. There was a team that would play. They were always called the anchors, the anchor team. So it was a lot of the, you know, SportsCenter anchors and stuff, but also they would get the former MLB players or NFL players if they wanted to play. You know, they would get, it was the SportsCenter anchors, and then whatever pro athletes wanted to play would be out there playing slow pitch softball with us washed up high school athletes. And I remember Dallas Braden, if you remember him, threw a perfect game for the Oakland A's. So a pitcher, but his career ended because he blew out his arm. So he was out there in the outfield when he would play, and he would catch the ball and he would throw underhand from the outfield because he couldn't throw overhand, and he would throw underhand faster than most of us could throw it overhand. But he hit a ball one time off of my team playing him. My buddy was pitching, and he was like, I remember in the dugout, my buddy was like, I don't even want to pitch to him. I'm going to get smashed in the face if he hits a liner back at me. But we were like, dude, you got to pitch to him. You can't just pitch around him. So he hit a ball, though, that I don't think has still landed. This is 10 years ago, and I think it's still flying through outer space. This is a pitcher in the major leagues who blew out his arm. Probably the last time he actually swung a bat was in college, and he hit a ball and threw the ball underhand faster than any of us. The point I'm trying to make is professional athletes, this dude who's the flag football guy, great. You're probably good at flag football. I get it. Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams, all these dudes would absolutely smoke your flag football team. Like, I appreciate you for being good at flag football.
Not even knowing the rules. It's It's last thing I'll say on it is the dream team. Like I said, it's funny that you are saying it's like such a joke, basically. The dream team, what was the dream team's gold medal? I mean, they're winning every game by 55 points. It's like, wasn't that a joke? And then you fast forward 30 years, and now the competition is caught up because of an awesome team like what this Olympic flag football team could be.
My point is, it has nothing to do with the dream team. The dream team played basketball. Flag football is not football, for God's sakes. You got to have tackling involved. What is going on?
Well, you can't, because now you actually get those NFL players to play. They're not going to play tackle football.
It's an exhibition. It's a circus.
Tear his ACL playing it.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's the next best thing. It's still football is still a fun sport. 7-on-7 is still fun. Yeah, it's not football, obviously, but maybe it inspires a next generation international players to actually play real football. Like you're saying.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'll tune in just to watch the little bit of the beginning of it, see what it looks like, and that is about it. Flag football, I'm not a fan. I guess you figured out.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, it's not a bad sport. It's really not. It's not, when you compare it to football, when you compare any sport to football, it's not a good sport. It's still a cool sport.
It would be cool. It'd be interesting. I would be curious if they do, because it hasn't been officially voted for NFL players to play, right? Like, it's still.
No, I thought the owners did it. Yeah, the owners did.
Oh, okay. Goodell is definitely pushing for flag football big time.
Yeah, I'd be curious what players actually sign up, because if the competition's not there and then the threat of injury, I'd be curious what players.
I just think that, I think if you do it 1 year, you're probably maybe not going to want to do it in 2032. But who doesn't want to put a gold mantle or a gold medal on their trophy case?
Yeah,
it's tough to turn that down. I think it'll be a very good roster, honestly.
Probably would be.
And how about, do they play 7 or they play 5?
It's 5-on-5, and it's 10-player teams. So like I said, give me Lamar Jackson, and then give me just the fastest players in the NFL: Tyreek Hill, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jefferson, Chase. You want to throw Travis Hunter in there? Sure. Give me the best corners. Derek Stingley, all those guys.
Right.
And it's like, how do you even compete?
There's no way.
Yeah, just hand him the gold medal.
Don't you want to see him beat a team like think about it. This quarterback is one example of these guys who they're playing this dumb sport, and they really do think they can compete with these guys. Like, I'm telling you, it's gonna be a massacre. It's gonna be fun to watch.
It will be a massacre, and that's not usually must-watch TV, but
right.
Okay. All right, let's take a final break and come back with a little bit of Tedertainment Tonight right after this. All right, guys, let's get into this. I just got a couple. I had 4 here, but I'm only going to throw a couple out. You all know how I like my murder mysteries and Dateline. I just saw one a couple weeks ago. It's one of the best Datelines I've ever seen. It was a recap of what's going on out in Idaho. Have you guys been following the case with Brian Kohlberger?
Is that the students, the college
students at the University of Idaho? Yeah, and this guy is accused and he's charged with it. He's going to be going on trial, Brian Kohlberger. But NBC somehow, they had a mole in the police department, and they have this Dateline from a couple weeks ago. It's called The Terrible Night on King Road. I'm seriously saying, if you get a chance to catch it on YouTube or Google it or whatever, The Terrible Night on King Road. This is one of the best Datelines I've ever seen, with, behind the scenes stuff of an upcoming trial. I mean, they show this guy's car, they show all kinds of inside stuff that only the police are supposed to have right now. In fact, the defense is raising a ruckus saying, hey, how can we have a fair trial? This stuff's all been put out publicly. So they're trying to figure out who the leak is in the police department, but it was really a well done 2-hour Dateline. Highly recommend that.
I will definitely check that out, because I've watched a couple of documentaries on that. Excuse me, that whole situation, and that story is crazy.
It is.
I'll be curious. I mean, I don't know how. I thought they were like pretty sure they had him. Like, I don't know how the defense is going to be able to get him off, because I'm pretty sure like they have it pretty pegged, fingerprints and DNA and stuff in the house. Like, I'll be curious what the defense is.
Oh, they had copies of his cell phone text. They had his history of searching that special knife that was used. I mean, they put all this in this show. I mean, if I was a juror and I saw that Dateline, I'd have to say, no, he's guilty. You got to throw me off the jury,
Right. Yeah, it's a pretty wild story. Jared, you haven't seen anything about that one?
No, I
know you're not big into true crime. I know. But.
No, I mean, well, I just saw a story yesterday where a hiker, this young woman, got lost like just outside of Scottsdale at this like Mountain Head Trail. So I saw that yesterday. That drew my attention a little bit, but no, I don't know. It's funny how we all are on social media, yet it just targets different people with what. I get targeted with BS, like I don't even know, baseball 1930s quotes.
Yeah, no,
and you guys obviously have that, like that. You guys like that. I'm not saying a lot of people do, so they clearly target that stuff at you, where it's just like I don't even know what's happening in the world. Sometimes kind of wild.
Well, I always record Dateline. Actually, my sister Mary clued me in on it. She says, you got to check out Dateline from last Friday. It was unreal. And then when I did do it, wow, it was great.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that one out.
And I'll lighten it up a little bit here. This is, I'm sure Jared will criticize it because it is definitely an old news thing, but Matt, you'll appreciate this. So I told you this comes full circle. I was out in Boston. We had some bad weather. After the Red Sox game, we went back to the hotel and felt like checking out a movie. And this movie, I've seen it many times on the TV, whether it's on TNT or USA, but never really sat down and watched it. And we were looking at our choices, and we had kind of limited choices of movies at the hotel. So it was a choice between Legally Blonde or Back to the Future. Now, Back to the Future is one of the best movies I think ever made, but I've seen it at least 2 or 3 times. My wife says, I've never seen Legally Blonde. I said, okay, I don't think I've ever seen it in entirety. So we watched it with Reese Witherspoon.
Yep.
It's right up your alley, man. I mean, that was a good movie. That was right in your heyday, right?
Oh, yeah. Legally Blonde was a big deal. And that was Reese Witherspoon. Probably one of the biggest ones that like burst her onto the scene. Like, but yeah, that's a really good rom-com. Not really a rom-com, it's just a comedy.
Just a comedy, but it was well done. Jennifer Coolidge, a young Jennifer Coolidge was in that one. And I would just give it a 2.5 on the 3-point scale. I mean, it was a solid watch, sitting in a hotel, and I had never seen it. 2001 it was made, so it definitely was a little outdated. And one final comment on our hotel viewing. The other day, the day we went to the JFK Museum, it was a nor'easter. I mean, it was just a torrential downpour all day long. So we had some hanging time at the hotel and just happened to come across a Rocky marathon. So we watched 1, 2, and 3. Still holds up. Number 1, I mean, it's got to be top 5 movie all time. It really is.
One really is. I mean, it's an incredible movie. I mean, it won an Oscar, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I mean, obviously some of the stuff, it was shot back in the early 70s. So, it looks a little outdated, but no, the acting and the writing and everything is just top notch.
Oh, the dialogue was incredible. I mean, when Rocky was courting his, what's her name?
Adrian.
Adrian. He's courting her, and the dialogue he had with her was an all-time classic.
Yeah. Yep. Those are good. Never can go wrong with a Rocky marathon.
Nope. So that's my update.
Yep. We tonight. So again, we're recording Tuesday. Tuesday night is the series finale of Handmaid's Tale. We've been keeping up with it, and this final season is actually been really good. I mean, there's been a couple parts where it's like, all right, let's go, let's move along, let's get this thing going. But they've thrown in some twists. They've brought back a couple characters, and they've made it to where, there's been a couple little twists that were kind of like shocking, I guess. But they've made it to where we really want to see how it wraps up. Like, and we really are not sure if it's going to end up kind of being like happily ever after type of ending, or if there's going to be one more little twist tonight. Right. But no, like I think I said before, this show has gotten to the point of like, all right, let's finish this thing up. But the final season has been really good. So curious to see the series finale of Handmaid's Tale tonight. We also started the series You that we've talked about. I know, Jared, you've watched that. Yep. This is also the final season, is on Netflix right now. This is definitely a show that is just, it's absolutely far-fetched, ridiculous, out of control.
Yeah, it kind of jumped the shark a couple seasons ago, in my opinion.
Right. But. Yeah, but it's, again, one of those that we've stuck with, so we've got to see how it plays out. The one thing about it, the writing, Ted, you always talk about the writing. Yep. The writing is good. I'm blanking on the main actor, Joe. I'm
Joe
blanking
Goldberg,
on,
right?
Yeah, Joe Goldberg is
what's
his
Alpine
character.
Yeah.
But he's a great actor. He's fantastic. He's really, really good. There's a couple other really good actors in the movie, so the writing is good. It's just the fact that this thing has gone on for, I think this is season 5, 6 seasons, and like he hasn't been caught yet. That's what makes it like, right. All right, it's good, but like, all right, how does he keep getting away with this stuff is the one thing that makes it like whatever. But this final season, we're 3 episodes in, 3 or 4 episodes in, it's got us again. I mean, this final season is good, and we want to know, all right, how does he get out of this again? Right. Or does the show finally end where he gets caught and killed, or whatever?
Yeah.
So
Penn Badgley is the actor.
Yeah,
he is great. He's dynamic as Joe Goldberg. That's what makes that show work. If it wasn't a good actor that has some charisma to him, like this show like would almost not be watchable.
Yeah.
The first 2-3 seasons, it really was awesome and something you'd never really seen before.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the new season. I probably will get around to it at some point. What is he just another? He's just killing more people, and
well, he's back in New York because he got himself wrapped up in so much he had to go overseas,
right?
And he found his now current wife over there. They came back over to New York. He's back in his bookstore, which is a big storyline in the movie where he's got the cage,
right.
Down in the basement of the bookstore that comes back into play. Of course there's already been some killing and stuff, and so it's just, you can see they're setting it up for like fireworks in the final season. He has a son now that is obviously a part of the storyline, so no, it's
Goldberg.
Yeah, man, he's a character. It's always funny too, because like there's always goofy stuff with shows like this. Like his thing, Jared, you definitely know what I'm talking about. When he goes in like stealth mode, when his like incognito, he's just got a plain black hat. So like he'll be out in the city, he's a good looking dude, and now they're rich, so he's fashionable and stuff. But when he's got to go like sneak around, all he does is put on a black hat. And it's like no one knows who he is because he's got his black hat on.
Yeah, you got to at least put on the tortoiseshell glasses to go with it.
Something.
I got one real quick. So I went to the theaters actually and saw Friendship with Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd.
Oh, that looked good.
It was good. 9.5 stars on my scale. 2.9 stars on the 3-point pod scale.
Yeah,
I really did love it. It's Tim Robinson. Him and Shane Gillis are the it guys right now in comedy. They are the tippy top. They're the best. It was awesome seeing him, because usually when you watch his shows, it's him and a bunch. Usually his cast of friends that are in these shows. It was cool seeing him co-starring with Paul Rudd. It was honestly like the perfect duo. Like sort of when you think about like Dumb and Dumber, how it worked well with Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. Like there was just something dynamic about Paul Rudd selling his jokes that really worked well. There's so many great gags in the movie, like just a couple of quick ones, like, and there's just like throwaway lines that are not really that funny when I say them, but like there's something funny about just like in the plot of this movie. Like, there's one time he's like trying to get Paul Rudd to go out to eat with him. He's like, dude, come on, man, let's go try the SEAL Team 6 meal. It's what the SEALs ate after they murdered Osama bin Laden. Like, it's 4 pounds of ribs and mac and cheese, and like there's just so many like kind of dumb lines. But when you hear him say it, it's hilarious. Like, another big like running gag in the show is he gets his clothes from Ocean View Dining, and like 4 or 5 times he says they're the only clothes that fit perfect. And like 4 or 5 different times, like his pants get ruined, and he like it's just a funny gag. He freaks out every time. The funny joke that I always love, like the trope, is when there's the cool guy, which is Paul Rudd, and then there's kind of like the loser or like the nerd like sidekick friend who whatever Paul Rudd does, like he copies it and like keeps copying it. Like, for example, like Hangover with Alan and Phil, Bradley Cooper. Like, anytime Bradley Cooper does something in that movie, Alan copies it and like tries to be cool like him. I just think that's hilarious. He does that throughout the whole movie. The movie looks great. The cinematography is great. One person I'll shout out, Connor O'Malley. You probably never heard of him. He wears a Marine hat in the movie. He plays Tim Robinson's brother, Trevor, in The Detroiters, and he's hilarious in that. He's got like 5 or 6 lines in this movie, but he's like freaking hilarious. So I can't recommend it enough. I actually went to the theater in Imagine in downtown Birmingham, which Birmingham it's mind-boggling every time I go there.
It is.
But this theater has been around for 100 years, and it was pretty cool. It's like the ceilings are real low. Like, as you're walking, like it's almost like you're walking through like a school hallway, like a hotel hallway, with this old wallpaper and like old wood everywhere. Like, it was honestly a pretty amazing theater right in the heart of Birmingham. So walkable. So yeah, it just was awesome. I can't. Nice. And in comedies, that's an important one to go see in the theaters, because all you hear about is how nobody's making comedies anymore because they don't make money. So more so than a horror flick or the big, Maverick, Top Gun Maverick. Like, this is one that you would argue is very important to go see to keep those type of movies alive. Like, it was a packed theater and like everybody's dying, laughing, watching it. It was just a good experience and a good flick. It definitely lives up to the hype.
It's funny you brought it up too, because when we were just debating what we were going to do at the hotel, what movie we were going to watch, we did consider going to the movies. I kind of wanted to go see Sinners, and we saw that one and we both considered it and almost went. So I think I may check that out.
This Tim Robinson is like, I think a lot of people now know who he is, but man, he's the next big thing. He's freaking hilarious.
The trailer, so it is a comedy because the trailer made it look like it was some like weird, almost like a horror movie.
Yeah, they kind of there are some elements of that. Yeah, there are some elements of that where you like they kind of make Tim Robinson like almost like they give him like a serial killer type vibe like sometimes. So no, I'm telling you, it's a movie that you're just like there's like a lot of comedies you need to watch it 2 or 3 times to get those kind of classic lines down to recite. But like I'm telling you, like you're just laughing the whole time.
No, I'm season tickets for Paul Rudd. Anything he does he's good. You have to have a certain sense of humor for him. He's pretty dry, with his delivery and stuff. But
I kind of thought it was going to be like when I was going into the theater, I thought his character was going to be like what it is in I Love You, Man, like kind of the like asshole, like in Dinner for Schmucks. Like he plays that same sort of character, but he's kind of like a cool guy, like in this. Like he's just kind of like being Paul Rudd, like what we've learned him from like Ant-Man and that sort of thing. So that was kind of a pleasant surprise. I like him in that role.
Nice.
Good review. Definitely we'll be checking that one out. All right. Anything else, fellers, before we wrap this up?
I'm just ready.
You never know where it's going to go when we turn on these microphones. That's for sure. All right. Well, special thanks to Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center. Make sure you join up the Summer Shape Up Challenge running from June 4th to July 30th. Follow the Wellness Center on Facebook for all the details. Also, want to thank our other partners, AZee Branding Solutions, Jacobs Insurance Agency, Kori Shook & Associates Real Estate Services, Nelson House Funeral Homes, Rivals Taphouse and Grille, Success Group Mortgage and Servicing, the Shiawassee County Fair and ALS of Michigan. Don't forget, if you're a country music fan, go on down to Detroit this weekend. Chi-Town has a big gig. That's Saturday, May 31st at the Tin Roof adjacent to Comerica Park. Check out the boys, 5:30 to 9:30. Peace and love, everybody. Be kind. Thanks again for listening.